Hey everyone, in today's video I'm going to be taking you through this content system that you can see on screen that we just finished up for a client. We're going to go through each of the modules step by step. I'm going to take you through it, and then also the Airtable database. We're going to have a look at the data, the interfaces, and how we can actually view and manage our content and create new bits of content and all that good stuff. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to release another video very soon where I'll be giving away this template, and then in that video we'll actually break it down and get this set up. This video is more like an overview of just showing you how the system works. So let's jump straight into it, and I'll just take you through the N8N workflow. So we start off with a viral content finder. So every day, at whatever time you want, this system here in green will scrape the web for daily news articles related to your niche. In this case, I have it set research the top 10 AI and AI automation related news stories. So every day we'll find 10 news articles from Tavily and then 10 news articles from Perplexity. We'll then rank those news articles, we'll then rank those articles to our ideal target audience and give them a score, and then we'll filter through them, and then if they have a score above 1 in this case, they will be added to the Airtable database, but that's all easily adjustable. The next section here, we're actually scraping LinkedIn. So we've selected creators on LinkedIn that are producing the content that we want to produce or similar content. So what we're doing here is we're every day, or however often you want it to run, this is scraping new posts from your chosen creators, again ranking them on relevance to your niche and your ICP, giving them a score, and then adding them to the Airtable database. So I'll show you what this actually looks like in Airtable in a second once we get through all this. So moving on, we then have a content engine here in blue. This is going to be repurposing the content from this step in green and creating our own content out of that content, if that makes sense. So we see a news article that we like, we see a post that we like, we then say we want to repurpose it. This AI agent here is going to repurpose that, and we have a few documents here which are the person's or yours post guidelines, your brand voice, all that good stuff in there. So that's going to create the copy, and then also a few different prompts for us, so image prompts and all of that stuff. Then what we're going to be doing is just updating Airtable. We also have a RAG agent vector store here. So what we're in the process of doing, when we get a big backlog of content that has worked, we are adding that to a Superbase vector store, and then this will just be connected to this AI agent. So this AI agent has access to all of our previous posts that have gone viral, and it can then use that as a foundation or a template to create future posts, but that will come in the future. Moving on, so we've created our copy, we've researched our creators and found out the daily news articles within the niche. Then we move on to the media section. So here we have a few different options. So we have it set up in a way where this is tailored to Instagram. So that is what the client wanted, so that is what we did. We have a carousel post here. So this is just generating the carousel post if we have that beginning image. So if we've already got an image and we just want to create more images related to that image, like you see on Instagram, where you have the first image, which is just the title, a catchy headline, and then you swipe, and then there's a bit more information on the next images in the carousel, if that makes sense. Again, I'll show you the examples in Airtable later. This section here, we're creating a carousel image if we don't have that start image. So the only difference here is that we're using this analyze image tool to analyze the first image in this section here, which is then going to give us the prompt for the first image. We're then going to use that prompt for the first image to create multiple images with that same style as the first image. Whereas this carousel section here doesn't have that, it's just creating the carousel from scratch. Moving on, we have the standard, just one simple image creation. So this is just going to create us one image, essentially, if we just want to do a single image post. Moving on, we then have our video, our reel generator here. So this is going to generate us reels from a base image. So in this case here, we are creating an image, and then we're prompting it to animate the image or turn this image into a reel, etc., etc. This section here is doing exactly that. Here we just have a pretty simple edit section. So if you didn't like the image, you just wanted to reprompt it, it's just going to do that there for you. Or if you liked one part of the image, you wanted to reprompt it, that will do it all there for you, as well as the carousel and the video. So this section here on the left, this is just all the content research and content creation side of things. So again, we're getting the content, we're repurposing it, and we're creating our media here, which is very important for Instagram. Moving on, we just have the poster. So this is where all of our stuff is going to get posted. So we're using Blotato. I'll leave a link in the description for Blotato. So what that does is it's just an API software that allows you to post on any social media platform really, really easily, instead of going through all the like Meta API documentation and trying to set it up that way. This handles that all for you. So we have this set up to LinkedIn and X as well at the moment, although they're not currently being used. The main purpose of this system is just for Instagram. So you see we have a carousel post, normal post, and then, or a single image post, and then a reel post. Here, what we're doing in this analytics section is we're actually scraping our own social media account to update views, comments, reposts, likes, all of that stuff within the analytics section of our Airtable database. You'll see why this is really important in a second, because we actually have real-time like graph data that's getting updated every day via this automation here. So that is a quick rundown of how this system works. Full-blown content system, research, copy, media, posting, analytics, all done within this system. And again, like I mentioned at the beginning of this video, I'll be giving this template away or something very, very similar in the next coming days, so just stay tuned for that. Now, let's just move on to the Airtable database and the interfaces, and I'll quickly just show you what it looks like on the client-facing end. So, like I mentioned, I'm using Airtable and their interface section. I mean, one thing I found when it comes to selling these systems and using Airtable is that to someone who's never used Airtable before, the actual data area of Airtable, so I'll show you now if I click on view data, this default view of Airtable can be quite confusing to a lot of people, but that is why I use or tend to use interfaces in Airtable. And again, that's why I love Airtable, because it has that option. A tool that I've been using recently as well is called Softer. So that is pretty much exactly the same as Airtable. Exactly the same interface. You can build apps which are interfaces, you can have automations which are workflows, and vice versa, but we won't go too much into that now. That's for another time. But here you can see the back end, where everything's updated, the data section of Airtable, and we'll go through this and then I'll show you the actual interfaces and what it looks like to the client. So you can see we have a few different things up here. We have lists, which are the lists, so email lists, current leads, and all that stuff. And then linked to that is the newsletter, but that again is for another video. We're just going to be focusing on the actual content system that I showed you in NAN a second ago, which is the daily tab, the content tab, and then also the analytics tab. So here in the daily tab, we have the daily news articles, and we have the daily posts. So you can see daily posts coming in, they get ranked, so you can see what score, the date posted, the full post URL, the image that was used in the post. So then when we go to recreate our post, we can come up with an image similar to that image that has been used. You can see all the reactions, see all the comments, see all the reposts, all that good stuff. In the news article section, again, you can pretty much see very similar stuff: article title, copy, source URL, score, last modified time, and then a button if we want to repurpose that content. This is all grouped by date because obviously we've got this running daily. So every day it will give us a list of new articles, if that makes sense. So moving on, we'll go to the content tab. So if we like an article, we want to create a post, the next step is moving to the content tab. So here are a few old examples of content that's been generated with this system. I'll take you through it. So in the content tab, we have a few different views on the side. So we have new posts, approved posts, published posts, post analytics. So when we hit create content, new post will always appear in here with the status being automatically set as review. So this system is actually, it's not fully automated, but it's like 90% automated. All you need to do in here is just come in, approve, schedule the post, and that is it. So it's like 90% automated. And with content and content systems, I'd always recommend having a human in the loop to review the content and make sure that it is up to your standards before you post. I'll show you examples why in a second. But we move on. So you can see content coming in here, videos coming in, image prompt, carousel button, image one button, videos, video prompts, video go, platform. So again, I told you this is only set to Instagram, but we have a few different options in here that I was playing around with. Again, we can have image, carousel, video. And then we'll move to the approve section here. So how this works is if we just hide this ready to post section. Actually, no, we'll keep it on just for the purpose of this video. But this ready to post section, once we've selected a post date, and our post date is now. So for example, if I schedule a post now for now, this ready to post will change to post now, which will trigger the post webhook in NAN. So pretty cool stuff. This doesn't need to be seen because it's just a formula, but because we're actually in the back end and the client isn't operating in the data view in Airtable, it's fine. But here we just have the approved posts, then we have the published posts, and then we also have the post analytics. So you can see every day this will be updated when that daily or schedule trigger runs every however often you want it to run. And it will update the new likes, the new comments, the new views. So obviously views will only be registered under video posts. So you can see that here. Cool. We'll briefly run over the analytics tab. It doesn't do much. It's just for reference when building the interfaces, which I'll show you in a second. So here you can just see the posts, this is the CID or the content ID, which is from content. So you can see here C54, C53, C50, C54, C53, C50 with the comments, the likes, the videos, the views, the copy, the images, the video, and all that good stuff. Publish date. Again, nothing really goes on that much in this table. This table was purely just to reference when creating the interfaces, which I will take you through now. So let's head over here. We'll go back. We'll open the interface. So this is what the client's looking at. This is their UI, UX, whatever you want to call it. And everything's operated within here. So the daily articles and viral content section that you're looking at now is where we find all the daily articles, daily posts. So if we open these, you can see the LinkedIn source URL, the caption, the comments, the reactions, the reposts, the score. And then if we want to repurpose it, we can just click create post there. So let me find one with an image. So here you can see the image that was used in the post, the URL, the copy, or the caption, whatever you want to call it. And this one's got a score of 10. So I'm going to just click create post just to show you an example, and we can go through and have a little look how this system works. So that's gone now. But again, you can see that articles, posts are all neatly formatted within date or grouped within a date. So they're all easy to find. Then we have the content editor. So we'll go into here before I show you the analytics and the content ops dashboard. Here we have the content editor. So this is where all of the content that we generate comes to, and where we can easily create our content and edit our content. So you can see here all of our content under review is in this view here. So you can see the carousels generated. So again, this is a good example of what I meant. The style of carousel images wanted. So you can see that we have the first image, which is kind of the headline, the punchy headline, master AI prompting today. The next two are just the detailed images, like you tend to see on Instagram. But yeah, pretty cool stuff. Then we have the title, the copy, some hashtags, all automatically generated. The image prompt. So if we wanted to just create a new image, we can just click this. Or if we wanted to create a new carousel, we can just click this. If we wanted to create a video, what we would do is just type in what we'd want to make. So if we wanted to say, I'll animate the text, then we could just put animate the text, hit video create, and then we'll get a video of the created video, if that makes sense. Here, again, more examples of, let me find another carousel for you to show you, or actually video. So you can see the style of videos and stuff that we're actually doing here. We can create reels as well. That's just a very simple setting in the aspect ratio that we can do within Airtable, and all of that good stuff. But again, to move to the approved section, we just click on more. We can see the content that we've approved, and then published, we can see all of our published content. And then if we wanted to see all the content together, we have that option there as well. So pretty cool stuff. Really easy to navigate and look at compared to the data formatting Airtable style, which is very good for someone who's a newbie to this stuff and wants something to be as easy as possible. Then we'll move on to the final two views. So we actually have the content operation dashboard. This is where we can view all of our content across our channels that we've posted. So you can see total pieces of content, content items in review, approved content, published content. We've got graphs, review, approved, published. We've got scheduled content over time. Then we've just got content management level view, and we could just come in here and have a look at all of our content, see what's going on here. And we can filter this by whatever we want, really. We can just look at Instagram, YouTube, or Score, or whatever your social media platforms you're using. Again, the original one that I built for a client, we're just focusing on Instagram. I've just been experimenting with another version of this platform with just a few different social media. So just experimenting with content and constantly trying to improve this system for my client and for myself, and for future clients. So moving on to the last view, the last interface, it is the social analytics table. So what I was saying earlier, the analytics data view, this is the section where you can, or the client facing section where they'll be able to see all of that in a more manageable way. So if you want to look at one post, you can just come in here and click whatever post you want. So if we look at this, we can come on here and have a look at the post one by one, or if we want to have a look at the total, we can see everything in here really easily. Likes and comments by postcode, so that's by the CID. So you can see C53 performed the best. So if we look at C53, we can see that it got 740% engagement based on the engagement settings that we have it on, and all that good stuff. But if we click off that and have a look at it, we can just have a look at that. It's easy to digest. All the data is there that we need. We can see how well each post is performing. We can look at trends. We can look at different platforms and all that good stuff. So yeah, that is going to wrap up the video. Like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, I will be dropping a template that's very similar to this very shortly. It will be specifically just an Instagram content system where we'll go through and we'll like look at examples of posting carousels, posting reels, posting image posts, and creating all of them and setting up a system like this for yourself. And I'm also looking to like the interface section. But that is all from me. Thank you for viewing this video. Make sure you hit the subscribe button, and I will see you very soon. Bye.